Hi, and welcome to 647. 6 stories for 7 a.m. That sounds like a good time. Why? Because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix. And the truth starts now. All right, it's take one. Trump donates the family Bible. What is this about? President Trump donated his family Bible on Monday to the Museum of the Bible in D.C. during his meeting with the White House Religious Liberty Commission. So this was Trump's mother's Bible, which he used in both his inaugurations. That might be a clue that there's not going to be another inauguration. In a powerful address, Trump emphasized that our national identity is faith-based and launched his America Prays initiative. Secretary of HUD, Housing and Urban Development, Scott Turner, great guy, shared that more than 70 faith-based organizations and churches will participate in America Prays. President Trump previewed new rules for Americans' right to pray in public schools. So that's all going to be posted very soon through the Department of Education. Randy Weingarten will be in mourning. All right, take two. Ninth Circuit Smackdown. SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, backs Trump on ICE raids in La La Land. The Three Stooges voted no, Soto, Kagan, and Brown. Gavin the Greaseball is pissed. The Ninth Circuit Court is dissed. The other occasionally non-Trump derangement syndrome judges argued back and forth the legal calculus that agents must consider in the field. Meanwhile, Holman's heroes will do their best to interpret ROEs downrange in Cali. That's rules of engagement for our Fishhawk viewers. All right, take three. Got them Statesboro Blues. Man, that is one of my all-time favorite songs by the Allman Brothers, but that's not what we're talking about here. ICE raid on the Hyundai battery plant in Elabelle, Georgia, right near Statesboro. Last Thursday, the FBI, ICE, DEA, and the ATF, it's actually ATFE because they're including explosions now, they all showed up and nabbed 475 illegals, busted for being in the country illegally and working at the Hyundai plant. And guess what? Out of 475, 300 were illegal South Koreans. Trump, what's going on, man? You had the president of South Korea up there. He says, oh, we're investing $12.8 billion. And then the whole trip is Americans are getting these factory jobs. And who got them? All illegals. Are you kidding me? And here's the best part. Who gave the tip to law enforcement about what was going on? The rumor is that locals were complaining because the factory workers at Hyundai were begging for food because they weren't being paid for their work. And the locals are pissed because none of them were hired at the battery plant. So you can't make this stuff up. This is a black eye for Trump. Trust but verify, dude. You better put somebody on all these factory things to be checking it out. You can't go running around bragging about factory investments, $12.8 billion, Instead, we show up and we find out it's B1 visas and hordes of hungry illegals going around begging. What kind of operation is that? Operation Warp Speed? And real quick and real warped. That's what people are going to be thinking about. All right, continuing. Take 3. This is also a fresh cow pie for all the lefty green racers who were all over this thing in a minute in Georgia. The Asian Americans Advancing Justice out of Atlanta were there crying about the abuse by police. Migrant Equality Southeast, advocates for immigrant workers in South Georgia, warning of a dangerous, escalating pattern of government. There's more. Savannah Southern Workers Assembly. I thought the South was conservative. It must be all these people from New York City moving down there and taking over. And, you know, there's still a lot of U.S. aid money that hasn't been found. So it's supporting all of this leftist, Marxist nonsense, right? So they organized the workers across the South. And then there's the Georgia AFL-CIO, claimed to be outraged at ICE's escalating presence. And let's not forget the UAW. They showed up, the United Auto Workers, condemning Hyundai for its unsafe working conditions. South Korea, meanwhile, chartered a jet to take their 300 illegals away. And Trump may want to get away himself from this golden age, warp speed, lefty Palooza in Georgia. All right. This is going to be take 4 and 5 because I got carried away with it. But let's go. Javier Millet gets crushed in Buenos Aires election. And you all are thinking, what does that have to do with me? Listen, it has a lot to do with you. And I really like this guy. I met him twice at CPAC. He's the president of Argentina. He couldn't be a nicer guy, couldn't be a better speaker. And the guy is all character and courage. So that's my preset for this. President Millet took over Argentina when it was a destitute, leftist hellhole, completely mismanaged by Marxist kleptocrats. He has done amazing work in Argentina. And what is the payback for his courage and character? The leftist Homeland Force Party, nice name, right? Homeland Force Party, won the majority in the election. They got both chambers of their government. So just for reference, Trump is struggling to accomplish his America First agenda, and he controls both houses of Congress, meaning they both have Republican majorities. However, the majority of his party are RINOs, warmongering, big pharma cyborgs doing the will of the mega corporate as sociopath complex. So take a look around, my fellow Americans. Javier is not going to be able to rule in this situation. Trump is struggling to rule. And then let's look at a few other countries. Brazil is a communist thug-ocracy. It used to be great under Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro, they put him in handcuffs in the hospital in critical care. Okay? That's how bad it is. And they're going to put him in jail, and he's going to die in jail. England is on its way to embrace a Muslim prime minister, that goofball mayor of London. That is going to be the kickoff for a CQC civil war. What are we talking about? Close quarters combat, up close and personal. Blood in the streets kind of civil war. That is coming to England. And if Millet can't rule like our O'Biden puppet show, the Marxist convicted former president of Argentina, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, currently serving a 6-year house arrest sentence for corruption, along with a lifetime ban from holding public office, no problemo. She will appoint a puppet like Sleepy Joe and rule the cash register once again. Point of order. Only 61% of voters in Argentina showed up to vote. So people have to get serious about this. All of this, and there's more, is looking like a global suicide circle jerk. You know it. And let's not forget the clown prince of Marxist Muslim mama's boy mayhem, Zoran the Zero Mamdani, the left's beast from the Book of Revolutions. This boy will show convict Kirchner down south how a real professional screwing is done. New York City may never return from this lefty sadomasochistic orgy. And let's not overlook our morally on the spectrum frogs, the French. Yesterday, they lost another prime minister, French Prime Minister François Bayrou. Called for a confidence vote and lost. What kind of big loser is he? Call for a confidence vote and you don't know what the outcome is and you lose? Maybe Francois should be called Francois Beirut. Got the boot is more accurate. This is the 5th prime minister in 2 years. That place is a mess. Where's Marine Le Pen? C'est la vie, baby. All right, we're not done with this either. I said all of that to say this. All this self-destruction in all of these countries was done in plain sight. Everybody watched and thought somebody else will fix it. Nobody did. Now it's going to be blood in the streets. And it's coming our way like a runaway freight train, and nobody is coming to save you either. Here's a clue. Exodus 15, verse 3. My God is a warrior. Yahweh is his name. You cannot reason with evil, whether it wears a suit, a black robe, a dress, a uniform, a lab coat. You must pray to God for the strength to resist, to assess, to act, and to persevere, because your time is up, baby. Things are going to happen quickly. You just watch. All right. That was 4 and 5, and I have 2 for our arms studies, advanced reprobate mind studies. Here is our first person, Australia's mushroom murderer sentenced to life in prison over multiple poisonings. What could this be about? Well, in Melbourne, Australia, an Australian judge on Monday sentenced triple murderer Aaron Patterson to life in prison with a non-parole period of 33 years for poisoning 4 of her estranged husband's relatives with death cap mushrooms. It's a new idea, right? Justice Christopher Beale told the Victoria State Supreme Court that Patterson's crimes involved an enormous betrayal of trust. An enormous betrayal of trust. You invite your in-laws over and you make a poison lunch for them and you serve it all to them and you sit there and watch them foam at the mouth and die at the table. That's an enormous betrayal of trust. This bitch is crazy. Here's the best part. Patterson's estranged husband, Simon Patterson, was invited but did not attend the July luncheon served to his parents and his aunt and uncle. Nice son, nice nephew. What kind of guy is that? He knows this chick is crazy and he doesn't tell them all not to go? I'm telling you right now, Simon should be forced to adopt the Menendez brothers. Death cap mushrooms. Get the hell out of here. All right, last one, 6'2". This is arms. Man, this is an arms celebrity, right? Talk about the reprobate mind. All these people, their minds are broken. They cannot reason out anything. They do the craziest stuff in the world. So here comes one. This woman has had a lot of support, though, from the left to move forward. She's not living in the same reality, even with them, and they're wild, right? So the appeals court upholds Jean Carroll's $83.3 million defamation judgment against President Trump. Now, I know you have questions, right? First, what's the E for? Who has a name like Jean Carroll, right? Well, she's eccentric. That's what the E's for, right? And too crazy for Trump to be fooling around with. And he said over and over, she's not my type, okay? Plus, I don't go into department stores and follow women into the dressing rooms on the women's side. Please, get out of here. And where is this being adjudicated? Downtown Manhattan. And what's the makeup of the jury? Wouldn't you have loved to watch the voir dire proceeding, right? How crazy can we find? How many people with raging Trump derangement syndrome? They gave this chick $5 million on the rape charge, and the jury said, we don't believe there was any rape. We don't believe that he committed rape. But take $5 million because we hate his guts. And now they're back. Defamation? Have you ever watched any videos this woman's put out? Just go look for E for eccentric Jean Carroll, and you will see somebody who, I'm just saying. Okay, so 83.3 from a bunch of Trump-hating lefties. 83.3 million. I would love to see a group picture of that jury. Because this is why she's getting almost $84 million, because Trump trash talked her on social media, right? Because she made this whole thing up and he had to go through all of the embarrassment and listening. Look, it's the Kavanaugh thing over and over again. It's the Justice Thomas thing over and over again. The left are scumbags. They're absolute dirtbags, and they have no moral anything. They will do whatever it takes to gain power, to hold on to power, and a lot of that's going to be stripped away from them in the next 6 months. So Trump trash talked her on social media. She gets 84 mil, maybe. Nobody's won like that with him yet. I don't believe this is good. Who knows where this is going, but there's no justice in New York City, but justice is coming. All right. And we're still coming. It's Tazewell Tuesday. It's the ugly sister of Monday. But you know what? You were all off gallivanting and goofing around. You can do some work this week, all right? But do it with integrity. Don't be like all these people I'm reading to you about. Do your work honestly. Do it with some character. Do it like God is watching you. Do it to honor him. And guess what? You have some work to do for me. I want you to share us. I want you to like us. I want you to make comments. I want you to push us out to your network. And it's not a quid pro quo. I'm going to ask the omniscient Lord of the universe to bless you. And he is going to bless you because I'm worse than you, and he continues to bless me. And so I will see you, God willing, tomorrow. I want you to have a great work day today, and God bless you. Later.